Have you ever felt the pain and anguish of loss? Anguish is usually the result of a tragedy or tragedies piled one on top of the other. In 1998, my brother's wife died quite suddenly from a heart attack just before Christmas. In fact, she was buried 2 days before Christmas. It was quite a difficult thing for him and for the rest of the family, to say the least. But if that wasn't enough, in 2007, his 30-year-old son was shot in the abdomen and died. Through the anguish and pain, he was able to find comfort in the knowledge that God is his refuge and strength. Anguish and pain, however, can result in bitterness that leads us away from the green pastures and still waters of Psalm 23, where the Lord leads us for nourishment. Yet, Psalm 23 verse 4 reminds us that he also leads us through the valley of the shadow of death. How do we as humans process all the grief that we see around us without becoming bitter? Today, as we continue in our series, New Beginnings, I'm looking at Beauty for Ashes. The book of Ruth gets off to a rather sour start. In chapter 1, verses 1 to 5, we learn of a family who has left their home in Bethlehem, the house of bread, and moved to Moab because there was a famine in the land. For this family, Elimelech, Naomi, and their 2 sons, to move to Moab must have meant that things were really bad, both spiritually and physically. During their stay in Moab, Elimelech has died, and both their sons also died afterwards, but not before they married Moabite women. The loss of her family caused great sorrow in Naomi's heart and bitterness toward God. In her bitterness, she sets out to return to Bethlehem because she had heard that the famine was over. She bade her daughters-in-law goodbye. One of them understood her plight and quickly went back to her people. But the other, whose name was Ruth, clung to her and vowed never to leave her. Nevertheless, Naomi's feelings of bitterness only intensified. As she relates to Ruth the hopelessness of her situation, in Ruth 1:13, Naomi says, "It grieves me very much for your sake that the hand of the Lord has gone out against me." Again in Ruth 1:21, Naomi says, to call her Mara, which means bitter. This was contrary to her name, which meant pleasant or beautiful. Have you ever felt that the Lord had given you much more than you could bear? Wait on the Lord, because he promises to give you a new beginning. He promises to give you beauty for ashes, the oil of joy for mourning, a garment of praise for the spirit of heaviness, that you might be a tree of righteousness, the planting of the Lord, that he might be glorified. Isaiah 61, verse 3. In the end, we see Naomi's life beautifully turned around as God gave her a grandson through Ruth. He would feature prominently in the genealogy of Jesus. So be patient and wait for the Lord. In due time, he will turn your fortunes around. May the Lord bless you.